I never thought the most painful moment of my life would come right after achieving something I had dreamed about since I was a kid. The day I bought my dream house was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. The day everything finally came together. But instead, it turned into the moment I realized just how little my family actually cared about me. Imagine inviting your entire family to celebrate something huge with you, and not a single person shows up, not one. And later finding out they all went somewhere else together, without even telling you. Tell me honestly, was I wrong for how I reacted afterward? Or would anyone in my place have snapped just like I did? When I signed the closing papers for the house, I was shaking with excitement. I grew up in a small, cramped home where my siblings always had the bigger rooms and I was stuck with the leftover space because I was the quiet one, the one who apparently didn't need much. I swore to myself that one day I would own a place that felt like mine, where every inch reflected my effort and every corner showed my independence. So when the realtor handed me the keys, I actually teared up. I wasn't emotional because of the house itself, though trust me, it was beautiful with huge windows, warm wooden floors, and a yard I never thought I'd have, but because it was proof that I had built something on my own. No handouts, no shortcuts, just hard work. I immediately called my mom. I told her I did it. I finally bought it. She sounded happy, or at least she pretended to. She kept saying things like, good, that's nice, but then quickly changed the subject to my brother's job search or my sister's latest drama. That's always how it was growing up. I never got the spotlight, not even when I earned it. Still, I brushed it off. I told her I wanted to host a housewarming party the following weekend. I wanted everyone to see what I had achieved. I imagined my dad walking through the doorway and saying he was proud. I imagined my siblings finally acknowledging that I wasn't the backup child, the one they only remembered when they needed something. Mom said she'd let everyone know. The entire week I worked like crazy preparing the house. I assembled furniture, hung curtains, unpacked boxes, cleaned every corner, and even spent more money than I should have on food, drinks, and decorations. I bought extra plates because I thought maybe everyone would bring their kids. I cooked my mother's favorite dishes. I even made a small photo wall of our family memories because I thought it would make them smile. I don't know why I tried so hard. Maybe because I was afraid deep down that if things weren't perfect, it would give them an excuse not to appreciate it. The day of the housewarming came, and I woke up ridiculously early to get everything ready. I kept checking my phone to see if anyone sent a text confirming they were on the way. No messages, but I told myself they were probably just getting ready. I set the table, lit scented candles, put on music, and stood looking out the window, like some lost character in a movie waiting for their happy ending. The party was supposed to start at 4 p.m. At 3:50, I felt butterflies in my stomach. At 4:10, I started to worry. At 4:30, I told myself traffic was probably bad. At 5:00, I was staring at the untouched food on the table and the empty driveway outside thinking, they'll be here any minute, but they never came. Not a call, not a text, nothing. I called my mom, no answer. My sister, no answer. My brother, straight to voicemail. I tried again and again until my hands were shaking. By 6:30 p.m., I was sitting alone at my dining table like an idiot. Surrounded by food no one would eat, looking at the decorations I had put up with so much excitement. The candles had burned halfway down. The ice in the drinks had melted. The music playlist had looped itself 3 times. And I just sat there, holding my phone, refreshing the screen like maybe notifications would magically appear. Finally, around 7 p.m., my cousin sent me a message that made my entire body go cold. She said, "Hey, are you coming to the seaside picnic? Everyone is here." At first, I thought she sent it to the wrong person. I asked her what she meant. She replied, "Your mom and them said they invited you, but you couldn't come because you were busy with your house stuff." I swear I just stared at that message for a full minute, unable to breathe. They didn't forget. They didn't get stuck. They didn't have an emergency. They planned an outing, all of them, together, and they didn't even invite me. Worse, they lied and said I wasn't available. Do you know how humiliating it feels to realize you are the inconvenience in your own family? That your biggest accomplishment meant so little they didn't even bother pretending? I called my mom again, and this time she picked up. I didn't even say hello. I just asked, "Where are you?" She sounded irritated immediately, like I was the one disturbing her plans. She said, "Don't start drama. We're at the beach. Everyone wanted to go. You always get emotional about these things." Emotional? I was shaking with anger. I asked her why no one came to my housewarming. She said it was too far. And honestly, you didn't need a party for everything. You could have just shown us pictures. Went silent. Completely silent. I felt something inside me click, like a switch flipping off. I realized then that I had spent years begging for scraps of affection from people who had no interest in giving them. I realized nothing I ever did would be enough to make them value me the way I deserved. They saw me as the backup plan, the responsible one, the one who would always understand, always compromise, always stay quiet. And in that moment, I decided I was done. So here's the situation I was in. I had worked unbelievably hard for something. I should have been able to celebrate with the people I loved, but instead I was left alone and lied to. And I had to make a choice, keep letting them take advantage of me or finally stand up for myself. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause for a second and think, what would you have done in my shoes? Comment below and tell me if you would have confronted them, cut them off, or done something else entirely. After sitting alone for another hour, I started packing up the leftover food. I threw out the decorations. I cleaned the dishes I had set out. It felt like I was erasing the last trace of my expectations. By the time I was done, it was dark outside. I took one last look around the empty house and whispered to myself, never again. The next morning, I decided to take the first step. I removed myself from the family group chat. I blocked my siblings and cousins on social media. I left my parents' chat open because I knew I needed to say something first. I didn't want to disappear silently. I wanted them to know exactly why I was distancing myself. I wrote a long message telling them how hurtful it was that they all chose to go somewhere else on the day. I invited them to celebrate something important to me. I told them that I understood now that I wasn't a priority and that it was time for me to build a life where I did not have to beg for love. I told them I wouldn't be attending any more family events until I saw real effort and accountability. Then I hit send. The replies were predictable. My mom said I was being dramatic and ungrateful. My sister said, "You're overreacting." It wasn't that serious. My brother said, "Nobody cares about a house that much." Not one person apologized. Not one person acknowledged the pain they caused. That was all the confirmation I needed. So I blocked them all. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful at first. It hurt like ripping off a bandage. But slowly I felt lighter. I spent time decorating my house the way I wanted, not worrying about what anyone else would think. I invited friends over, people who actually wanted to be there. They showed up with gifts, laughter, and genuine pride in what I accomplished. One of them even said, "This place feels like you." And it was the first time I heard something that sounded like family. Weeks passed, and surprisingly, no one from my family tried to fix things. They didn't call, didn't visit, didn't apologize. I guess it was easier for them to pretend I was overreacting than to admit they were wrong. But that's okay, because I'm finally at peace. Buying this house wasn't just about having a place to live. It was the moment I finally understood my worth. It was the moment I realized family isn't defined by blood, but by effort, by care, by presence. I still don't know if I made the right decision completely cutting them off, but I do know that for the first time in my life, I chose myself. And if choosing myself made me the villain in their eyes, then so be it. At the end of the day, here's what I learned. Some people only value you when you're useful to them. And the moment you expect even the smallest amount of effort, they vanish. So maybe the universe wanted me to see the truth the hard way before I built my future on a foundation of false love. Anyway, if you've listened this far, thank you. I really needed to get this off my chest. Like this video if you were on my side. Subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me in the comments what you think about the whole situation. Was I wrong for walking away? Or was it finally time? I'll see you all in the next story.